Welcome to Art Ed Radio, the podcast for art teachers. This show is produced by the Art of Education University, and I'm your host, Tim Bogatz. As you know, or as you may have heard, we have a new host on our second AOEU podcast, Everyday Art Room. Cassie Stevens has stepped away from Everyday Art Room, and our new host is going to be the one and only Nick Hahn. And best of all, we're going to talk to Nick today. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself, a little bit about the new show, and how she came to host it. Finally, what you can expect if and when you give it a listen. Now, I don't want to tell you too much about Nick. You know, that's something she can do in the interview and on her own show on Thursday. But I will say this. I have known Nick for a long time. I have admired her and her teaching for a long time, and I know she is going to be incredible as a podcast host. There's a good chance that you know her too from her Mini Matisse blog, or from social media, or from Art Ed Now conference presentations, or from any of a million places. She is well known throughout the world of Art Ed, and for good reason. She is passionate, she is creative, she is hardworking and caring, and an incredible teacher. And more than anything, and I think this is what makes her, or will make her, a great podcast host, she loves to share. So I'm going to give her the opportunity to do that right about now. So let me bring her on. And Nick Hahn, the new host of Everyday Art Room, is here with me. Nick, first off, congratulations on the new show. And secondly, how are you?
Very well, thank you. And thank you. I am so very excited to start this podcast with the Art of Education University.
Awesome. And I think everybody's going to be very, very excited to hear from you. Just when we announced you, just so much positive feedback from everything. But, you are very well known in the art education world. But for those people that don't know who you are or what you do as a teacher, can you kind of introduce yourself to our audience? And also, can you just answer the question, why in the world do you want to do a podcast?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, Tim. Okay, let's go into a short background, just kind of what has brought me to this moment right now. Basically, I have had K-12 experience in art education, and actually, I taught with the Art of Education University some of their courses once upon a time as well. So I like to consider myself, and I did spend a short time in preschool. Very, very, very short time. But I could say preschool through adult learners is kind of my background. And I'm sitting at 18 years right now. So I have a little bit of experience. I'm currently in a job in Rogers, Minnesota, where I'm teaching K-5 in suburbia. And it's at that district, ISD 721, has been my district for the last many years. I don't know exactly what. I'll wait until I get a new pin to tell me how many years I've been working for them. But for a long time, and I within that district, just many different levels and many different experiences. And I love my past because it's taught me a lot about art education. Why do I want to do this podcast?
Sorry to put you on the spot with that one.
No, you know what? I love this question actually, because it's an easy one for me to answer. I really have a passion for art education and creativity. It's why I started my blog. So I didn't mention that. I have started a blog, I think it was 2010, called Mini Matisse. My daughter had just been born, and I wanted a way to communicate with my parents at the time. And so I started this blog called Mini Matisse to communicate with them, but it blew up. It was the right time at the right thing at the right time. And I started meeting art educators all over the world because of it. that worked really well for a while, but then I discovered Twitter from the K-12 Art Chat team, and I found that I had professional development using that platform, and I was able to talk my geeky art education self with other art educators all over the world. That was cool. I started taking classes through the Art of Ed University, Creative Bug, Sketchbook School, wherever I could find online classes or physical classes. Because I just love creating. I love challenges. So the sketchbook project is one that I've done recently, but I do challenges all the time. And then I went to national and local, art education conventions just to start connecting with other art educators. And then finally, I started an Instagram. And that's probably my most recent form of social media. Now, all of these things I do very intentionally, and it's to find my tribe. It's to find the people that like to talk about what I like to talk about, and to give my husband a break from my constant chatter about art education. So this is a great platform for this. I think, it's just something I'm truly engaged with, and I can't wait to share. Just everything about art and creating.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, just kind of thinking about, what you said about taking on challenges, like taking on a podcast is a big challenge. And, you and I have been working together on this for a while now, because it is such a big job. You're taking over from Cassie, who has done, some great things.
Yes.
The show is very well known. But can you talk about, I guess, with your show and her show, what is going to be similar, what you're going to continue, and I guess more importantly, like, what are you going to expand? What are you going to do differently?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm a huge fan of her podcast, Everyday Art Room. She has done an amazing job, and I think what I love about her version of this podcast is her passion. She too is sharing about her everyday life in the art. Wait a minute. Is that where the title came from?
Yes.
Wait a minute. No, truly her passion, and just mostly her experiences in the classroom. So I think I'm going to continue with that quite a bit. The life lessons over the 18 years, and the life lessons that I have daily, every single time that I go into class. The little tips and tricks, I love that about her when she was leading this podcast. But I also feel that there are so many art educators out there that know so much and have really good information to share with the rest of the world. So I think this is going to be a really fun platform to bring interviews in. As I mentioned, I spend a lot of time communicating with other art educators throughout the world. And then my favorite is going to the national conventions and actually meeting them face to face.
Yes.
Yep. And just making those connections right away and having those conversations about what we're both doing in the profession has led me to admire so many other individuals in our career. Or in their career. So I'm hoping to bring lots of interviews. Actually, I already have some queued up. I'm pretty excited about.
Okay. I want to talk about those, but I have to talk about me too.
Yes.
So
yes, let's talk about you. Mm-hmm.
No, I was just going to say, like, the interviews are absolutely my favorite part of doing the podcast, because, there's so much to learn from so many people. I love being able to give a voice to those people I admire, to have them share their ideas and kind of give a platform. So, more people can learn what they're doing, and more people can learn from those amazing people. So,
right. You know what? Let me just say though, Tim, that is another reason that I want to do the interviews, is because of your podcast. I love hearing from the other people that you bring in, and both you and I hope me in the future here, what we're doing is just kind of being that questionnaire for the listeners, so that we can ask all the really deep questions and learn from others. So Thank you
Yes.
for modeling that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you. I hope we can continue that on my show and get a little bit of it in your show. But let me ask you, like, who do you want to converse with? Who do you want to learn from? Like, who do you really want to get on your show?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I do have one recording already done with another person, and I'm really excited about this because it is not a featured presenter, but a presenter with me at Art Ed Now, Billy Keel. He was a participant. Oh, yes. Okay. You know him, but for those of you who don't, he was a participant on the show Making It. And he actually came to my school and we worked together on a collaborative piece. I brought him in as a visiting artist, and it was tremendous. So I weaseled my way back into his life recently. He'll be my first guest, and it went wonderfully. He's awesome, and he has a lot of great information to share. Again, I've reached out to quite a few people, like people that are on the Art of Education University team. My goodness, is that a wealth of information. So I'm hoping to bring in more people that work for the Art of Ed. Cool. I met a wonderful person named Emily Compton. We will be hearing from her. I'm excited because she talks about assessment in art and how to make it fun, which we could all use, right?
I was going to say that is a difficult thing to accomplish. So
yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
A longtime friend, Don Massey, has said that he would maybe make an appearance. Gosh, what a wealth of information there. And then my roomies. So how I work the Art of It or national conference is I just connect with people online and I say, hey, do you want a room with me? And so far, so good. We'll just
you haven't met any creepers yet.
Not yet. Been good. No, it's been good. Ashley McKee and Heather Herbay were my roommates this year, and both of them might make an appearance here on Everyday Art Room.
No, that sounds really cool. Like you said, there's just, so many perspectives. They have so much to offer. So I think that's something to look forward to. But also, I guess kind of expanding that a little bit more, you talked just a little bit about assessment there, but, what other kind of topics do you want to cover? Like, are you going to just focus on a few things that you're passionate about, like creativity that you talked about earlier? Mm-hmm. Or is it going to be more of a wide-ranging show?
No.
And I guess part 2 of that, Everyday Art Room has been very elementary focused. Are you going to continue in that vein, or do you think there be things that will be worthwhile for secondary teachers?
Oh, good question. Okay. Yes, we are. Because I have a passion for art education, it goes much farther than just creating. I love sharing classroom management tips, maybe how to set up the room or behavior routines, or especially that I recently discovered some really new tips and tricks on that I can't wait to share because it has been really successful in my classroom. But just routines for the students and that sort of thing. Of course, we'll talk about art education and the how-to. I want to have conversations on that might be a little controversial. Maybe choice-based learning versus group learning, or maybe craft versus high art, and what makes those two different. Is there a place in the classroom for that? I want to talk about something that I'm also extremely passionate about because it makes my job and life easier, is this school-home balance. Man, it is a challenge every day, but I think I've found something that works for me, and I can't wait to share more about that on this podcast, is just finding balance. And then feeding your creative self. So not only am I an art teacher, but I'm an artist. And how do I feed that creative self? How can I encourage other people to do that? I find myself reading books, taking classes, watching YouTube, do anything to learn new skills. Is this going to be a good fit for people who are teaching secondary? Yes. Because of my background of kindergarten through adult learners, I found out that if you open up your lens and say, I can apply this to my classroom in some way, shape, or form, I think you're going to be able to listen to this and find something if you're teaching 6th grade or 9th grade or maybe even adult learners, because learners are learners. And some of the information that we'll cover in this podcast will be for kindergarten all the way up to adults.
Yeah, that's awesome. But, like you said, I think it's tough to get people to kind of open up that lens.
Yes.
It's something we struggle with all the time. Like, the Art Ed Now conference, for example, where, this teacher may be an elementary teacher, but, her printmaking lessons are incredible for every grade.
Yes.
They can work for everybody. People are like, oh, she teaches elementary. It doesn't work for me. And just kind of dismiss it out of hand. So hopefully people can open up that lens a little bit more. And I don't know, get some ideas and listen a little more closely to where you're coming from.
Yep.
Let me ask you, I guess, probably one last question here. You're talking about all the different things that you love, all the different things that you want to talk about. But, for you personally, like, what are you most passionate about? What do you really want to share? What do you really want to cover as you're going through the coming weeks and coming months with this podcast?
Yeah. You know what? That's an easy one for me too. I have a rule for myself in life and definitely on social media, but anything that you ever hear from me is coming from a positive light. I 100% will never try to create drama. I will never put someone down. I will never put something down. There's room for all. And that's something you will get from my podcast absolutely always. I didn't really know this I knew parts of this, but when I went to NAEA conference this last time in Boston, I had a conversation with another art educator who said, Nick, you always look at everything in a positive light and everybody knows that about you. And I didn't really realize that I was projecting that. But since that has been mentioned to me, it's become a focus. It's been more conscious than unconscious. And so that's what you're going to definitely get from me. You're always going to have positivity. I try to own that every day. I seek balance to achieve that in my life. I surround myself with positive people and communicate that with my family. We actually have full out conversations about finding balance and positive outlooks. And of course, this also goes into my classroom on a regular basis too. Mindset, being positive, really just finding that balance between myself, which usually involves some sort of making or creating, and teaching. So teaching both my students and also the other art educators out there, my tribe, teaching them what I know, so because I learned so much from them. Finding balance as well with my family, my own family, but I'm going to extend that a little bit farther to my friendships, which I consider to be my family as well, the rest of my tribe. So I have read one time by Christy Nichols, in her book, I read, it really works if you do it. And that's true of anything. So when I make a concentration on being positive, it's going to work as long as I do it, as long as I get enough sleep, as long as I'm eating right and creating exercise and creating and making on a regular basis. I continue to be balanced and positive. And so that's something I hope to bring to Everyday Art Room as well as continue within my own life.
Yeah, that's awesome and very well said and great to hear. And I think everybody's going to be really, really excited to hear more from you, Nick. So thank you so much for coming on, sharing a little bit about yourself and sharing some of your plans for Everyday Art Room, because I think it's going to be really successful. So thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
All right, you heard Nick mention her Art Ed Now presentation in the interview there with Billy Keel from the show Making It. They did an awesome collaboration, and it's going to be an awesome presentation. And of course, that gives me the perfect opportunity to tell you that you need to register for the conference if you haven't done that already. Go to artednow.com to register. You may still be able to get a swag box full of all of those sweet, sweet materials, but I know those are running out soon. So go sign up. Like, I'm going to be done talking in about 45 seconds here, and you should immediately go sign up for an amazing day of professional development, some awesome presentations, including the one and only Ron Clark, plus a plethora of resources and ideas for the coming school year. We will see you there on July 25th. Or if you can't make it on that day, we will see you whenever you have time to access it throughout the next year, because you have an entire year with access to all of the presentations, all of the resources, all of the ideas that you are going to want to bring into your classroom this coming school year. And honestly, I can't tell you how much you will get out of the conference, so make sure you go sign up. All right, that is it for us. Thank you so much to Nick for coming on, and I really do hope you will check out her show. The first Nick Hahn hosted episode of Everyday Art Room will be out on Thursday, so look for it in your podcast feed, or if you haven't subscribed yet, do that. It'll be ready to listen Thursday morning and should show up on the AOEU website later in the day. So give it a listen. I think you'll enjoy it, and I think it'll be worth your time. Art Ed Radio is produced by the Art of Education University with audio engineering from Michael Crocker. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.